I would like to call upon His Worship, the Honorable براين Robson, Mayor of Canterbury City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll begin by paying my respect to the Bediaga people, the traditional custodians of the land of which we meet, and to their elders, both past and present. The Honourable Tony Burke, Member for Watson and Minister for Sustainability, Environment, Water, Population and Communities. Mejsanda Nashi, the President of the Australian Syrian Association, and my friend Dr. Jamal Rifi of the Canterbury Sports and Recreation Club. Assalamu alaikum. We come together tonight to commemorate the second anniversary of the Syrian Revolution and reflect on the sadness and suffering caused by this conflict. I'm also saddened that this 2-year conflict continues unabated. Since the last time I spoke of the Syrian Revolution, the number of dead, injured and homeless has increased alarmingly. In recent days, the United Nations has urged governments from around the world to unlock the funds desperately needed to assist the 1 million refugees who have fled Syria. UNICEF has reported that nearly 2 million children in Syria under the age of 18 were in dire need of aid. About 800,000 under 14 were internally displaced, and that more than 500,000 children have fled the violence as refugees. But all this sadness, this death and destruction, the loss of innocent men, women and children must not be in vain. There's an important purpose behind what is happening in Syria, and it's human rights. Since I spoke here recently at the fundraising night for Syrian refugees, I've come under criticism from some quarters, with one critic saying, what business is this at council? Another asking, what did I know of Syria anyway? To my first critic, my answer was that whilst council cannot directly influence the fighting in Syria, nor has it a role in international affairs, that's the role of the federal government. But that I as mayor could offer my support and concerns as an individual representing the concerns and fears of my Syrian citizens. And what did I know of Syria? To be honest, very little. But I've seen some of the horrors inflicted on the Syrian people. I've seen the unedited videos. I've seen the videos that you will never see on commercial television. The videos never seen on ABC or SBS, never even on Al Jazeera. I've seen the horrors inflicted on an innocent population. When I was preparing this speech, I thought, what do I have in common with these people? I live in a free and democratic society. I've never experienced discrimination, nor have I had to fight for my freedom or my rights. But the answer is obvious. What we do all have in common is the desire to express an opinion without fear of retribution, the desire to follow a religion of our choice without fear of discrimination, the desire to meet openly with friends and relatives without having the secret police knocking on the door, the desire to voice a political opinion contrary to that of the ruling party, the desire to have a life without looking over your shoulder all the time. These are what we have in common. The only difference is that you and I have these freedoms. The people of Syria do not. What we often take for granted here in Australia, proud Syrians are willing to risk their lives for the benefit of current and future generations. They risk their lives so current and future generations will have the ability to express an opinion without fear of retribution, the ability to follow a religion of choice without discrimination, the ability to vote in a democratic election and feel comfortable that their vote truly counted, and they have the ability to control their own destiny. Freedom and democracy is something we often take for granted here in Australia, but we shouldn't, because it doesn't always come easy. Democracy helps create a successful balance of competing ethnic, religious and cultural interests in a way that is fair to everyone. It's the only way that such a diverse country as Australia continues to be a success story, and that is why the city of Canterbury is a great place to live, work and play. We hope and pray that peace and democracy comes to the Syrian people sooner rather than later. Once again, I get to thank my friends in the Australian Syrian Society for inviting me tonight to speak on behalf of the residents of the city of Canterbury on an issue that should concern all of us. And I truly hope that when we come together to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the Syrian Revolution, that the fighting and killing is long behind us. Shukran.